Thank you for joining us. I am Randy Goode, your host, and we are going to be talking again about NBA basketball. Excited to talk about that. It's been a crazy weekend. But also, if you like what you see, please hit the subscribe button. There's a lot of us behind the scenes doing this, and it means a lot to us. We're approaching some pretty cool things. We've got over 1,200 views in just the last few weeks and over 70 hours of people watching us. And so the more subscribers that we get, the more encouraged we are to keep putting stuff out there. So please do that. Like us and make comments. We'd appreciate all the support. So we've had an awesome week of basketball, and I am joined by Trent Sneed, and we're going to be talking about those NBA playoffs in this last week. Trent, how you doing?
I'm doing good so far today, Randy.
Good. Well, crazy week.
Most definitely.
This last weekend, there was some awesome basketball. And so a lot of people have given up watching the NBA. A lot of times during the year, it's dry. They don't try like they used to. That's a topic for another discussion. But at this time of the year, it's fun to watch the fans all in, players from the tip-off diving and hustling, and it's just an exciting basketball to watch. And so this was a really good round of series, and I thought it was pretty awesome basketball.
Yeah, definitely. It's weird because I think growing up, your biggest dream of your life is to go watch these basketball games live. And, growing up, I think we all watched every single game, however many games there was in the season. We were making sure that we were in front of the TV for every single one of them. And it's so funny how things change over time. Like, I have friends now who are like, I didn't watch my first game until game one of the playoffs. And I'm like, yeah, that sounds about right. Regular season basketball is just hard to watch at times. And they're trying to do things to make it better. And they're trying to make it to where, players are actually playing more often. But when you get to playoff basketball, you know that these guys mean it then, and they're playing. They're not just playing 20 minutes; they're playing the whole game. So,
yep,
it's been exciting so far. Honestly, I think we're seeing some outcomes that we didn't necessarily expect, and also some teams that we thought maybe were a year off are moving in now.
Well, right now, what's cool about today's time frame is it's so accessible. So you can watch, if you didn't watch, it's on again. You can watch highlights. You can watch so many things. Way back in the day, the games were tape delayed in the NBA Finals. They didn't play them until 11:30, and there was a time where I went over to a person's house. They recorded the game, so we watched it late. It was on VCR way back in the day. We watched the whole game, and his VCR stopped with 30 seconds to go, and it was the Lakers versus Celtics, and there's no internet. And so anyway, we didn't get to know until the paper came out the next day who won. But it's fun to watch now. I mean, you can get so much stuff, and then you get so many people breaking it down, which is what we're going to do right now. So I think the first game that let's talk about, Game 6, the Mavs close out against the Thunder. What were your thoughts about that game and how things turned out?
Yeah, I thought this honestly was going to be a pretty good battle between these teams. The thing that I was not surprised by was Kyrie did not play to the level we expect him to play at. And some people are saying right now that, maybe he's getting ready for that, mid playoff slump there. And he's just preparing himself, maybe resting himself a little more than he should. But I think they really came to play. I think OKC, I thought, was maybe a little bit further out down the road, and they came in seriously. They meant it. And I think they had opportunities to win these games. They come out hot, win the first game. Dallas comes back, wins 2-3. And then you have OKC comes back and wins number 4, and you're like, oh, there's a chance there, right? So now you're tied up, 2-2, and you're like, oh man, there's a chance there that we could see this pull out in a different direction. But Dallas closes it out, gets 5 and 6, wins the whole thing, and honestly, that's ultimately what I probably should have expected when it came to that game. But OKC's got a young team, and they're going to be doing some pretty good stuff here in the near future, I can imagine.
I was impressed by them. So I had picked the Mavs to win, but one of the reasons I picked them to win was because I just thought the Thunder haven't been there, and so they don't have the experience. But a few things that happened in the last 3 minutes of that game, both teams were coming up, and it was a fun last 3 minutes to watch. You got 3 minutes to go. Irving gets the ball as the ball kind of went around. He gets the ball to him last second on the shot clock. He shoots. It goes off the rim. It goes in. It was like a miracle type of moment for them. And they have to win that game because they don't want to go back to OKC for game 7. As soon as he does that, Alexander comes down, boom, drops, makes a bucket. It's a 1-point game. Then here we come down the other way. Washington makes a big 3. It was just back and forth. And then they get the ball back again. And up 3, the Mavs have the ball. It goes to Irving. He gets blocked. And again, Jones gets it, does a turnaround fader at the shot clock buzzer again, makes it. And you think, okay, game's probably over. Minute 10 seconds to go. 5-point game. But Shea Alexander comes down. 5 seconds later, step back 3, drains it. They get the ball back again. He makes a free throw. He does an alley-oop pass. Now they're up. Then it goes back the other way, and Washington gets fouled. That was a crazy ending to that game.
Was it Shea that had the foul on Washington? Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
So Shea was doing everything well, and he just, double pump. It's such an unfortunate way to end the game.
I think the weird part about that foul is you can see that he contemplated whether or not I should hit him.
Yeah.
And because, the way he has his body contorted, I don't think he's going to make body contact in any way, shape, or form.
Right.
I think it was really just that one hand coming over the top that got him. And they said something in the press conference interview afterwards, but it was just weird because you could tell there was a contemplation there on whether or not, am I going to hit this guy or am I just going to let him shoot it?
Yeah.
And he says afterwards, I probably should just let him shoot it because it would have been a terrible shot.
And he double pumped.
Yeah.
So the odds of him making it in that situation, but I mean, it's such a bang bang play. It's so hard. Here he goes to the line. It's not a great free throw shooter. He's okay. And he barely makes the first, ties the game.
Yeah.
Barely makes the second. And because of no timeouts,
watching those free throws was painful.
Yes, but and it's the first one and the second one like the same
Yeah.
replay. I mean, he thought, well, I guess if I'm going to barely make it, let's barely make it again.
Yeah, seriously.
But no timeouts was massive because if you can call timeout, no matter what the third free throw is, you can get the ball at half court, and in 2.5 seconds, plenty of time to get a decent shot up. But the Mavs, made a nice play. It was smart. Missed the free throw. Because the difference between a 1-point game and a 2-point game is irrelevant at that point because it's going to be a 3-pointer at the other end anyway.
Yep.
So you miss it, 3/4, distance shot, and he misses it, and the rest is history. But I was impressed with OKC and how clutch they were for a young team.
Yeah.
That's a scary team going forward.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, and I mean, you have like Chet Holmgren that's on his first year.
Yeah.
Give that guy another year. He's awesome.
Yep.
I like him. And Shea's fantastic.
Yes.
I honestly, I think in the next 2 to 3 years, I wouldn't be surprised to see him in a conference championship. For sure.
Yeah. The way that when you have a leader like Shea Alexander, he took the game over and did not care the moment. Yeah. I mean, that was impressive. And they have multiple players. So yeah, I see good things for them. I was impressed by them. I picked the Mavs, but I was thinking that OKC would crumble a little bit more. And if it wasn't for that foul at the end of the game, I think OKC wins game 7.
Yeah. And I do want to not forget the fact that Kyrie did not have the games that we thought he was going to have. I think he is more well rested for this next series than we expected.
Yes.
And that means that puts Dallas in a pretty good place for this next series, which we'll get to eventually. But
yeah,
they're going to need every bit they can get.
They're going to need help, and we'll see where we pick here in just a minute on that. Okay, the other game that was awesome that happened on Sunday was you got the Nuggets.
Mm-hmm.
You have the defending champions at home playing against the Timberwolves, up 20 in the second half. The odds of a champion who has the experience losing a 20-point lead at home, the odds have got to be remarkably low.
Oh, yeah.
But they managed to do it. What did you think of that game?
Well, let's rewind.
Okay.
Let's rewind to game 6 here.
Okay. Oh, okay. Yes.
Because here's the deal. You see the Timberwolves come out, they win 1 and 2, right? Yep. And you're like, whoo, never mind. I think the Timberwolves are ready to play here. And I think Denver got smacked in the mouth, and they didn't know how to respond. Okay, they come back. And then Denver comes out and wins 3, 4, and 5, and you're like, oh, never mind.
Okay.
Let's remember who has the big boy belt, right? Denver puts the big boy pants on. They're like, let's just remind you why we're the greats, right?
Right.
And then they come out and it's game 6. They could close it out in game 6. They could get 4 in a row. And it's hard to win 4 in a row. But when you come out and smack a team in the mouth after losing the first 2, you expect that this is the time to close it out. Right. You don't want to go to game 7 and leave it for a chance. Yep. What was it, 40 points? 40 points?
45, I think. Yeah, it was insane.
And I'm sitting here. This is what blew my mind. Okay, so I was watching the game. It gets to the third quarter. I'm like, I'm not watching this anymore. This is terrible. When I turn the TV off, Joker is staring into the soul of the Timberwolves. I turn the TV off. At like, I don't know, probably 10 minutes later, I was like, I'm going to put it back on and just see what the score's at. I turn the TV on. He is still staring into their soul. He is still staring into their soul. And I'm thinking, oh, this is a bad man who's about to do some bad things, right? Mm-hmm. And so you feel bad because you're like, they lost this one really bad, right? That's a lot of points to lose by. But the look he's giving you says this isn't happening ever again, right?
Yeah.
And sometimes in sports, you got to trust those things.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting here thinking, never mind. I have the perfect guess because I guessed Denver Nuggets in 7. And I'm thinking, oh, there's no way he's losing this next game. I'm like, there's no way. You do not give that look to someone unless you plan on beating them in game 7. And, man, they just did not. I don't think they were ever really there. See, when they were up in game 7, I never once was like, they have this guaranteed. Mm-hmm. And that was a scary thing for me as someone who had Denver to win. Is at no point did I feel like this game was out of the control of the Timberwolves. Now, it did get a little ugly there for a little bit. But I felt like the Timberwolves were never out of that game. And I think that's what was important to Denver losing is I think Denver wanted to get in there, get really fast, move the ball, try to score a bunch in the first, second, and then try to basically make the Timberwolves feel like you're out of place. This is our home. And it just didn't work that way.
Yeah, the Timberwolves, this is where an Anthony Edwards is so valuable. He doesn't care. You saw how he got his team going. He's talking to him on the sidelines, on the court. He's just the whole time thinking, we've got this. He's got a one mentality. We will win and you will lose.
And his teammates buy in.
Yeah.
Let's start with that. Holy smokes.
Yep, absolutely. The run they went on the road against the defending champions, 54-24.
Yeah.
After down 20. That put them up 10 with like 3 minutes to go in the game. Finally, Denver made a shot. I was just stunned. I was like, the whole time I was like, wow, it's down to 16. 14? Maybe. 12, 9, 7, 5. I was just like, wow. Like Denver is doing what I might have thought OKC would do.
Yeah.
Not what Denver would do. And the Joker didn't have a bad game. He's at 34 points, 19 rebounds, 7 assists.
Well, he can't be the whole team.
No, him and Murray were the only ones that did anything.
See, this is where this team struggles, though, is that you're playing Aaron Gordon for the defense, right?
4 points.
Yeah.
That's all he got.
Man. And what the game before he had 0, right? Fact check me on that. Can we give a fact check on that? Aaron Gordon had 0 points in game 6, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, so he had 4 in the last game, and then you have Michael Porter Jr. I think he was only 3 for 12.
He's been hit and miss all playoffs. And this is the thing. They are so Murray reliant.
Yeah.
Because they know what they're going to get out of Joker. It's pretty well expected at this point that they're going to get that out of Joker. So I think he plays with a certain level of consistency that they need. But I think the difficult thing is they're not getting that same level from Murray. And I feel like he's maybe starting to have some growing pains for, the position that he wants to be in. So I'm a little curious to see. He had 2 points.
3 points. 3 points.
Oh, 12. He had 12 and 6.
Okay.
Oh.
Yeah. So I mean,
Gotcha.
the big thing is you've got to have more production. You can't be 1-2 reliant. You've got to have. And the thing that's hard if you're a Denver fan, when you're up 20 in the second half, you need 2 or 3 more minutes to just sustain the tie. As soon as it goes from 20 down to 14, you make a couple shots and it just kills them because they have a little bit of hope. And then you put the knife in them, and it's over. They needed a couple baskets, and they decided, nah. I think Joker wanted some time off. Maybe he, not really, but I mean, he's got now plenty of time.
Say what you want to say.
He gets to go home.
he wants to go watch those horse races.
He wants to go home. He's declared, I don't even like this. Nobody likes my favorite. I think he said nobody likes their job. Well, maybe some of you do, but I don't. So now he can go do whatever he wants to do. ride his horses, whatever he wants to do.
Whatever makes him happy.
But he did have a good game. But the others, that was just a shock. I was surprised by that. I did pick the Mavs to win, but it's always comes down to just a few things. Anthony Edwards, well, I think in the final game was only 6 for 24.
Yeah.
But the thing about him, that reminded me of Game 7, Lakers, Celtics, way back in the day. Kobe was only 6 for 24. And they have that similar mentality, but you're doing everything else to win. And he just didn't give up. He didn't lose focus. He didn't lose confidence. And I was impressed. It was a nice win. So
I think the beginning of the playoffs was his coming out party. This is his officially I am here.
Yes.
Yeah. I think anyone's going to have to take him very seriously in the next rounds.
Yeah. Minnesota was very smart to sign him long term.
Yeah.
And so I feel bad for him that he's stuck in Minnesota for a long time, but he's got a lot of money, so I don't have to feel too bad for him.
Yeah.
So he's doing well. So moving on to the East, the game we both picked, Cavs versus the Celtics.
Yeah, pretty straightforward.
That was a pretty obvious series. Cavs did some things. I mean, that's a good little team. What was your thought of the season for the Cavs?
I don't know. I thought it was kind of interesting. They came out and kind of in Boston fashion. I think I had Boston winning 4-0, didn't I? I think that's what I picked. Man, is it just Boston that just wants to lose the second game every time? I mean, is it just like they're like, I don't know. We probably shouldn't win them all.
Well, they didn't. I picked them in 5.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest with you, it was very dominating fashion. We expected it to be in dominating fashion. We didn't know if it was going to be, they were going to give out 1 game, 0 games, 2 games, but we knew it was going to be quick and it was going to be easy.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was. It was. I think the problem with Cleveland right now is they are kind of in the middle area. They're in a very similar position Miami's in, where they're good to be in the playoffs, not good enough to probably ever make it further than that. Which is difficult. So either they're going to have to expect when they're younger players to continue to develop, or they're going to have to go find a star that wants to come to Cleveland, which with LeBron gone, not going to happen. So
yeah, that's going to be the big rumor mill there, that they're going to say, LeBron, come home. That's what they're going to do. They're going to try to say, let's somehow get his son and then bring LeBron home, and it's going to be some historic moment.
Be kind of fun. You would enjoy that a little bit, right?
As a Laker fan, I'm okay. As I said last time, LeBron, we're willing to give you away, and so thank you for your service, but I'm okay with it. So
you would kind of enjoy that though, right? You're like,
I think that's the one team ending that everybody would be like, I get that. Yeah.
They go and get his son. They're like a storybook ending, it's kind of sweet. I kind of like it.
Yep. And he has Donovan Mitchell, who can take a lot of pressure off for him.
Oh, yeah.
You got Garland. You got a good little young team. He could come back and
he's officially a free agent, so they don't have to give anything for him, right?
Right. He's a free agent. The reason why I would do it if I was the Lakers is I would rather get good draft picks going down the road. Now, this year we have our pick for 17th pick. The Lakers have the 17th pick. However, there's one pick because of the Anthony Davis trade that we have to give up. So they can either take this year or next year's pick. So it'll be interesting to see which one they pick.
They should do it this year.
Yeah, so if they do it this year, then next year we get our picks from then on. And then if we're bad, we get good picks in the future, and we trade away Anthony Davis and we get more. But that's about the Lakers.
Yeah.
The Cavs have a good future, and they've got some good things. The Celtics they got 5 good players, and it's
going to be tough to beat that team.
It's going to be tough. So now the other game that came down to the wire, we both got this one wrong. Indiana outlasted the Knicks. Now, we didn't predict some of the things that would happen. The Knicks were decimated by injuries. You can't predict that. We knew going in they were shorthanded. Sorry, that's a bad pun since Brunson broke his wrist. But they were short. It was just ridiculously hard time for them. They've lost so many people. They didn't have Julius Randle. They didn't have OG was hurt. You have Mitchell Robinson. You just have player after player hurt. Hart is playing hurt. Yeah. And then Brunson gets hurt in the third quarter, breaks his wrist. It was like 2-on-5 basketball at some point.
I think if they go without injuries, I think they win this series pretty easy.
Yeah.
Which is difficult. I'm sure that sucks to hear if you're New York fans, right? If you're a Knicks fan, you're like, well, they were hurt.
Right.
But, this is the thing. They have a really bright future ahead of them. And this is going to suck for New York fans. I kind of think of this New York team as like an early or like an early Golden State Warriors team, and it would have been really cool to see them win without a superstar. Like, go and get in a Kevin Durant or, how it is, because in this offseason, they're going to do that. They're going to go find someone to come.
Yep.
Someone's going to come to New York. It's going to be a Paul George, a Kevin Durant, someone along those lines. In fact, I think Kevin wanted to go there originally, so maybe he will. It would have been kind of cool to see this team make it a little bit further.
Yeah.
Just without going to get a superstar, because I guess I'm not comparing them to the Warriors. I'm comparing them to the Warriors going to get Kevin Durant.
Right.
I always thought it was really fun to watch the Warriors play before Kevin Durant, just because they seemed like a team that shouldn't be there.
Yeah.
But they were that good, right? And it would have been really cool to see the New Yorks, a team that shouldn't be there, but they were that good, and go win one.
Right.
And I think without the injuries, they probably had a chance. I give them a 50-50 chance as a healthy team to beat Boston. So it's unfortunate, but good for Indiana. They took advantage of what they had. Tyrese Halliburton had...
he's a stud.
Yeah, he has some fantastic games. He does a really good job orchestrating their offense.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, you can't talk... Honestly, there's nothing wrong with the Pacers. I just think it would have been a lot more fun to watch New York move on.
You got Indiana went into the perfect situation for them. Perfect. Because they're a deep team and they run. And when you run, what would you like? You want to play against a team that is shorthanded. So you just wear them out. So the Knicks couldn't sub and do the things to help stay up with that fast pace. So it was the perfect storm that the Knicks ran into. But you do have to give Indiana credit. They did win your playoff basketball. You've got your star. They have Siakam. They have different players. They have multiple people on their team that can do things. So, you don't want to not give them credit, but felt bad for the Knicks. I'm not a Knicks fan, but you got to feel bad when your whole team is hurt.
Yeah.
They're all hurt. That's just tough.
Yeah, I don't know. I kind of felt like I became almost a New York. I'm not a New York fan.
Yeah.
New York Knicks
But you
fan.
root for them in this situation.
But in this situation, I was like, oh, man, I kind of want them to win.
But Brunson was pretty incredible story.
I think the story's pretty incredible. Not just Brunson, but like Josh Hart.
Yes.
That's a good story, right? He was playing out of his mind for like almost a month straight. And you're like, this guy was with the Trailblazers? Are you sure?
He was drafted by the Lakers.
Yeah.
Late in the first round.
Yeah.
Yep.
And you're sitting there going, are you sure this guy was, played for all these teams? He never really looked that good.
Yeah.
He played his mind out.
Yep.
And I guess
made some big buckets.
at one point you're just like, oh, man, I kind of want them to win.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's okay.
That's what sports do. They end up getting you in, they draw you in, and they rip your heart out.
Yeah.
So, all right. So anyway, now we got our final four.
Yep.
So it's time to make our predictions. So going forward, as we're making our predictions right now, I'm up 2 games, but they were like barely 2 games. Like,
Yeah, I don't want to talk about that 1 point.
it was, I was very, very fortunate. So things can change. I get that. We'll start in the East.
Yep.
We've got now the Celtics and we have the Pacers.
Yeah.
Who do you got in that series?
Well, I know you're asking me first because you want me to take Boston. You really want me to take Boston. But here's the deal. I'm not taking Boston. I'm not going to do it.
Yeah.
Indiana, you are my only hope.
You do not believe in this, but
Here's the deal. No, I do. No.
Okay, yeah.
I have convinced myself that I do. Okay.
all right.
You know why I have convinced myself that I do? Because Siakam, Halliburton, and old man Miles Turner. Okay.
okay.
Miles Turner's been around the rink a couple times, okay? He's got some experience on his belt. Maybe not playoff experience, but he's got experience, okay?
Okay.
And I'm going to go ahead and tell you right now, those Boston Celtics, they're a bunch of frauds, okay?
Oh, I
They're
love
a
hearing
bunch of
that. I hate the Celtics, so this is good. I'm good with
They're
this.
a bunch of frauds.
Okay.
I'm not going to, listen, I am not going to watch
Wow.
Jaylen Brown play another game.
Oh, my.
I'm just not going to do it.
The highest paid player in the NBA.
Yeah, I'm not going to watch Jason Tatum go out there and play like a weak basketball player.
Oh, I hope it happens.
He plays like Kobe Bryant
Hey.
on a quarter of Achilles.
Oh, okay.
Okay?
Okay, thank you. That was a bad...
I don't know. I can't stand to watch them play basketball. They don't look like they care at all. And you know what? All I'm going to say is yes. Do I think that the Celtics technically should win this?
Yes.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes.
But am I going to root for the team that at least is fun to watch?
Yes.
Yeah, I am. And I'm going for the Pacers, and I'm telling you right now, this is what's going to happen. They're going to win games 1 and 3. They're going to come out hot.
Okay.
1 and 3.
All right.
They're going to lose 5. Sorry, they're going to lose 4.
Okay.
Okay, and then I'm having them come back. They're going to win 6, 5 and 6. Sorry.
It's going to be in 6.
1, 3, 5 and 6.
Listen. I hope you were right.
Oh,
I am not a Celtics fan at all.
Cameron's over there just rolling over in his grave. He's like, "There's no way."
I am. So what's great about this is somehow, if I just look back at history, the Pacers were not supposed to beat the Knicks, that are shorthanded. But now they're supposed to beat the Celtics.
Just to clarify.
Just to clarify. Okay. All right. So going forward,
but I did think the Knicks probably were the team. If it was Knicks Boston, I would have rooted for the Knicks.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I commend you for that. I hope I'm wrong and you're right. Not a Celtic fan at all.
Oh, so you're going for Celtics?
I unfortunately am going with who I think will win, not who I want to win. I will root against what I am picking.
Okay.
So I'd rather lose. You can win. I hope it happens. But Jaylen Brown, Tatum, there's so many players. The Celtics have 5.
That's a hard team
that can play. And they have experience. That's a hard one. I think they were kind of the clear Eastern Conference pick to go. And so I can't. I want to root against them, and I will do everything I can in the finals to root against them. Spoiler alert. But in this one, I don't think Indiana should have been there. They were lucky that they played against 2 people.
Yeah.
With the Knicks left. So I hope you're right, but I just don't see it.
To be fair, there's 2 spots that the Celtics love to just blow it at. It's the first round of the playoffs, and it's the semifinals.
Yes.
That's their favorite spots to go out.
So I could have talked myself into this, but they have Holiday too.
Yeah.
And Holiday's been a big performer.
Yeah.
He has the experience and he's done some things. So even when you got some of these others out there that are kind of choking, like Tatum he'll have his moments where he'll be really good and he might miss. Holiday is the guy that makes me nervous, and I think they're going to win. So that's my pick. Oh, and I will pick the Celtics in 6.
In 6, okay.
Yeah, Celtics in 6. So.
I got the Pacers in 6.
Okay, well, that's great. I think I've just extended my lead. So moving on to the Western Conference, this is the fun matchup.
Yeah, this is the good one.
So we got the Timberwolves, we got the Mavs, we've got stars, we've got exciting basketball. Who do you have winning this series?
I think overall, Anthony Edwards is going to win this series. But the Timberwolves are not winning the series.
Okay. So he'll be the MVP, the most valuable player, but their team will lose.
Yeah. I think this is the series that truly puts him on the map. And when I mean the map, I mean next year, everyone in their little fantasy basketball drafts are going to be taking Anthony Edwards number 1. I think that's what I mean by this. He's going to be a household name for every single person, even people that aren't NBA fans, after this series. I think this is going to be a huge series. I do not have Minnesota winning.
Okay.
I have Dallas winning.
Okay.
And I'll give you a couple reasons why.
Yes.
Okay. Anthony Edwards has done nothing but absolutely have an extraneous playoff series.
Both ends of the court.
Yes. And I think every young guy learns very quickly the playoffs are long and they're very hard.
Sure.
And I will even actually give you an example. I think that Kyrie Irving actually has been playing it off a little bit.
Okay.
Because I think he has had the same thing happen in the playoffs. I think in the Cavs years, you saw him get worn out. In Boston, when he was with the Nets, you saw him get worn out. I think there's been, even with the Celtics, you saw him get worn out. I think that in this situation, you have a young guy that he feels on top of the world right now, but I think eventually he will wear out. And we'll see. If he doesn't wear out, more power to him. I think Minnesota's got a really good chance to win this whole thing.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of the biggest problem with the Minnesota Timberwolves right now is they are riding high on the back of Anthony Edwards, and I think he's going to wear out.
Yeah. Well, you got 2 teams that have studs and stars. What I'm looking at is I'm looking at Luka. He looks sore, tired, doesn't play defense. At the end of that game 7, he was trying to drive and he stumbled multiple times, got away with some passes where people were open when he's about to fall over. But he just looks hurt. And I mean, I guess he kind of always looks a little awkward and slow with the way he does things, and he's a great player. But when you don't play defense and you get to this level, I question it. Irving, the same thing, doesn't play defense. I think this is as far as they're going to go. I think they've had a good year. Commend them. But I'm riding the Anthony Edwards train, and he's got a nice front court there with Rudy Gobert. He's been actually underperforming, to be honest with you. The Joker killed him. Really kind of mocked the whole defensive player of the year. But you've got him there. You've got Karl Anthony Towns. You've got other play. I just see Anthony Edwards. Maybe it's my heart, but I've got them winning. I've got them winning in 6. And I don't think it's stopping right here. I think he's going to will him to victory. And I think Luka's ready for a break. I think him, Joker, they're going to get together. They're going to maybe go ride horses together, have a good time. I think they'll both be totally fine with that. And Irving, I think Irving's like at the end, I like Irving. I love watching him play. But I think he'll end the game and go, we lost. That's okay. Anthony Edwards is like going to be in the gym the next day, whether they win or they lose. And I think that'll prevail. But that's what I'm rooting for. So
I got Dallas 2-3, 6-7.
Okay.
Some weird numbers for you.
Yeah.
So I have them losing the first one.
Okay. So you have them in 7 games.
Yeah.
Okay. You have them in 7. I have Minnesota in 6.
Okay.
Okay.
I'll say this. I truly believe that the playoffs are a lot harder for the young guys than they realize, and I think there is a level of not wearing yourself out.
Yeah,
that some of the older guys are more tuned to.
Sure, and he is exerting
a lot,
all the emotion, both ends of the court. Did you hear what he said afterwards? They caught him saying that he goes, "I had Murray in handcuffs," following the game. So. Yeah. He's going to have to be careful that he doesn't incite anything, but he's a stud. So, well, we got the Final Four coming. We'll see how things go. It's going to be exciting. And thank you, Trent, for joining us, and we'll see how things go forward.
Absolutely.